Hello, listeners. Welcome to our summer series spectacular. If you're fans of any of these podcasts, then you know we've been releasing some special episodes over on our Patreon. And unfortunately, we have not gotten the response that we had hoped. So we have discontinued our Patreons for now, but would like these episodes to be enjoyed by a larger audience. I want to start by apologizing to the people who did pay a few dollars to get these exclusive episodes when they were exclusive. Your generosity and support is still very appreciated, and hopefully in the future we will offer some more exclusive episodes over there and see if we can't get a few more supporters to join you over on that special feed. But until then, we're going to be releasing these special episodes right here, right now, and all summer long. On the Time Pop feed, we have some what we call time travel-ish movies, things that are kind of, maybe time-altering, mind-bending, reality fuckery kinds of movies that I think you will enjoy on this main feed, even if they don't fall directly into our time travel purview. I may or may not have used that word properly. Whatever. For our Thank the Light audience, because there's only so much Wheel of Time content out there. Over there on the Patreon, we were experimenting with some other fantasy movies. So hopefully you're just a fan of Justin, Jeremy, and Desmond talking about stuff. So we're going to have some fantasy film discussions on the Thank the Light feed. And on the Movies Are Us feed, apologies. We're going to take a little bit of a break from official Movies Are Us releases just because we got really busy. We knew this summer was going to be a little bit busy. We were doing our best to get caught up, and Desmond is moving. Justin is probably going to be moving, and Jeremy doesn't want to do the podcast by himself. So we're going to, again, hopefully you're just fans of us and what we talk about. And even if it is not an official toy-related product, hopefully you will enjoy us talking about some fantasy movies over there as well, just because our voices are beautiful. I hope you enjoy these special episodes. If you're only subscribing to Time Pop, why don't you subscribe to Movies Are Us and or Thank the Light so you can get some other exclusive movie content. If you just like to hear us talking about films, it's going to be a great summer. We will definitely be back with new content. We have some very exciting things we're going to put into motion for Thank the Light. Movies Are Us is just going to be back in full effect later this summer. We're liking what we're doing over there. We have a lot of fun movies to talk about. And if you're a Time Pop fan and you like listening to Scott and I just talk about weird, mind-bending movies, let us know at timepoppod@gmail.com. That is timepoppod@gmail.com. If you're enjoying this, us expanding our definition of time pop movies, and we may put more of these types of movies on this feed in the future. If you're a Movies Are Us fan, just let us know when we get back to our official Movies Are Us. Let us know some movies you want us to move to the top of our list. That is moviesruspod@gmail.com. That is moviesruspod@gmail.com. And if you're a Thank the Light fan, Wheel of Time fan, as you know, the show is getting put off. So we're trying to figure out the best way to discuss the books. Again, we've got some exciting things that we're going to do there to try to hype up those book discussions as we wait for more Wheel of Time episodes to get back to Amazon Prime. And if you enjoy listening to us talk about fantasy movies, maybe we can squeeze one of these in here and there just to spice it up as we wait for Rafe Judikins to get those episodes out to us. And whatever feed you're listening to, send us a message. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, because these shows are nothing without you. So if, we're not going to listen to all your suggestions, but if you want to sheepdog us in a direction that makes us more fun to listen to and maybe bring more people into the fold, we would love to hear from you. thankthelight@gmail.com, timepoppod@gmail.com, moviesruspod@gmail.com. That is movies, the letter R, us, pod@gmail.com. Enjoy. Oh, man. Well, welcome, patrons. Thank you, loyal patrons. You are awesome. Yeah. This, I need to start. I'm sorry that this is on the Patreon because I think everybody from our regular feed really needs to hear this. I take back everything I said about Adew. I'm sorry.
Wait, what happened?
I really like Inception. I really like this movie, but I can see somebody watching Inception and saying all the shit that I said about Adew.
Huh.
Like you could make an under 2 hour cut of Inception and it would be fine.
I don't know, man. I disagree. I am on Inception's jock. I wish they gave me an extra 30 minutes. I love it. But so you have an issue with the length of time. What film are we doing today, Desmond?
We are talking about, oh, wait for it. Let me get all this right. We are talking about Inception from 2010, 14 years ago. We didn't even have children when this movie came out, Scott.
We didn't have testicles.
Jesus. Or you might have had a baby girl. Did you have you had a baby.
No, she's 12.
No, yeah, we were childless. We saw this movie in a different era of our lives, and we're coming back to it, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, JGL, Elliot Page, who I will refer to as a she because she is a she in Inception. So just getting that out there. Tom Hardy, who I always forget is in this movie. Like he is just God, I love that man.
There are 4 people from Dark Knight Rises in this film.
Is it Cillian or Killian?
Oh, let's say Cillian.
You say Cillian? I'll say Cillian. Tom Berenger. Can we get some more Tom Berenger?
What an obscure. Oh,
and he's great. Like, why?
He's fine. Yeah, he's just popped up for this and nothing else.
I mean, he shouldn't be winning Oscars, but I should be once a year. I should be going, oh, cool, Tom Berenger.
Hey, Tom's back.
And directed by a little upstart known as Christopher Nolan, which this could be the Christopher Nolan podcast. I mean, all of his, even Batman is an alternate universe somewhere.
Yeah.
Like we could do, obviously.
You're absolutely right. Even Insomnia, you could argue it's kind of an altered state because he's like not sleeping and he's, yeah.
If we, in an alternate universe, our podcast is the Christopher Nolan Minute, and we're just going through his entire filmography 60 seconds at a time.
Can we call the podcast On Nolan's Jock? Because that's what I am.
Is Slurp already taken?
is I would take Nolan's knob and deep in me. Is that okay?
The Thirsty Cast starring Scott and Des.
Oh, he's so good. Nolan. You've made me a believer. I used to be more of like the Fight Club, like directing like Fast Fincher. And then Nolan, when Batman first came, I was like, this is kind of slow. And then years later, I was just like, this man is a fucking genius.
This man makes films. He doesn't make movies.
He makes experiences.
Like Quentin Tarantino has nothing on the movie-going experience that Nolan has.
Yeah. Oh.
And the fact that he's done a Batman is so great. Like this guy could have just stayed in obscure, weird B+ movie hell his whole life, just doing stuff that people, the fact that he crossed over and did a major Batman trilogy.
So yeah, apparently it took him 10 years for this from the original script for Inception. It was supposed to be a horror film, and he couldn't get it made. He needed it to be big budget. It was after Insomnia. So then he did the Batman movies. And once he did that, they were like, oh, okay, we'll give you some money.
Do whatever you want.
Because I'm trying to remember the budget. I was like, was it like 170 million? But the movie made like $800 million.
Oh my God. Was this after all 3 Batmans, or was this somewhere in the middle of the Batman?
Well, that's a good question. I think it's definitely at least after the first 2. I'm not sure if it's after the 3rd.
Yeah.
But anyway, he did those, and then this 10 years later, he turned it into a heist film.
And his brother cannot be overlooked as part of his writing experience. I think his brother is.
Oh, really?
I think he's a big writing partner in a lot of his movies. And so yeah, with the way his movies are, like if you don't have a good script, you can't pull this off in front of the camera if you don't have it figured out behind the camera.
So he's got 4 people in this film, right? So he's got Cillian. He's got what's her name? Cobb's wife.
What's her? Why do I always forget her name? Marion
Cotillard.
Cotillard. Oh, and Pete Post.
It's got Michael Caine and Tom Hardy. All these people are in Dark Knight Rises. This guy likes his crew. He's like a Scorsese.
Yeah.
This film is so good. It's so good.
It's so good.
I was watching this. I already knew I liked it. I was watching it. I was like, this is like on my perfect film list. Like, you know, I put Back to the Future on the perfect film list and Interstellar. And like, this is on it is so good. It is so ahead of its time.
And even like, I never really thought about it until now, but it's such a perfect script. The way that Elliot Page, the way she is like the new girl in the crew. So she ends up serving as our cipher.
Yeah.
So like, it's all this she doesn't give exposition, but she gets all the exposition. And
then we understand what's happening.
And it allows, Leonardo DiCaprio to kind of let out what's going on in his head without just doing a narration dump at the beginning of the movie or something.
Right. Yeah.
So
she's really, it's really important. It's funny. Some of the reviews I read, they were like, they spend the first half of the film doing exposition, explaining to you what's happening. They could have just not and let it go, but it's like, no. This film needs it. It's setting up a whole world. It's setting up a whole set of rules. If you don't know the rules, you don't get the stakes.
Because I was thinking about it. I was like, this whole movie is one heist. And then I was rewatching it today, and I was like, holy shit, they don't start the heist until minute 60.
Yeah. There's like the first heist, right?
There's the setup heist, which ends up kind of coming back around. Like it's kind of, what's going on at the very beginning? Are we seeing the end of the movie?
Yes. So the very first thing you see is when he's in limbo trying to get Sato out of it, and he's aged. He's been in there in limbo a few minutes, and he thinks he's an old man. So the ending is at the beginning.
Why is Leonardo not 60 in that scene?
Because he just got there.
He did. Okay.
Yeah. But like Sato's been in there for whatever, and he thinks he's an old man. But he says in that when he's there, he's like, I remember meeting someone like you way back. And then they go back to like how they met, and then they take you back and then catch you kind of up to there. It's such a good film. I can't get over how good it is. I'm sorry. I can't. Get ready for a high rating today. This is up there for me.
The one thing that I think could go from this movie is how angry everyone is at each other. Like that doesn't come out to anything. Like if they're that mad at
well, Leonardo, I didn't catch it. He's a bit, he didn't tell them some pretty important information.
But they're all mad. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is always bitching to Tom Hardy and vice versa.
Oh yeah, they're mad. They have like a rivalry.
Youssef is like,
he's fine.
You know, he's fine, but like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like if you play up how hostile you are towards each other, it has to pay off somewhere in the end. Like you're in a Mexican standoff or something. Like it's weird how much time they spend bitching at each other for no payoff.
Yeah, you're right. This is like, because this is a heist film, right? Ocean's 11, they're generally much more pleasant to each other on the same team.
yeah. And there's usually some strife. Like there's a reason like that they're not together, but it just kept going this time. I was just kind of like, all right, either fight and get it over with, or or let it go.
I would argue, and you probably support me on this film, this could be on the regular Time Pop podcast. There is an element of time travel that you could debate absolutely deserves to be on Time Pop.
I guess so. You're right.
Because they go into the dream state, and each time you go deeper in the dream state, the brain processes faster and time adjusts differently. So when go deeper into the dream, it might like a minute maybe becomes like a day. And then when you go deeper, a minute might be like a year. And so this is not dissimilar. Yeah.
Like when Leo and his wife, I mean, they go in.
They experienced 50 years of life. They became old there. But then he comes back. And that is, as far as I'm concerned, that is an element of time travel, because that is not dissimilar from like Interstellar, right? For every minute you're on the planet, you are experiencing, and this is why it's debatable. And this is where we nerd out.
Yeah.
Every minute you're on the planet, years of your life are going by, back on Earth, but you're not experiencing that. Like that's how he could go back, and he's younger than his daughter. So in this, you are experiencing years of your life, and then you come back and you are your young self again.
But no one else is it's only for you though.
So it's like time distillation. Is that what it's called? You are experiencing years, but then coming back to barely. You're altering time, how you experience time. So again, debatable. But you could definitely argue this could be in regular Time Pop and not just Patreon.
Absolutely. Do you ever have outside sounds enter your dreams?
Oh, this is a great question. I'm a real sensitive dreamer. Once I realize I'm in the dream, I wake up. I can't lucid dream. So maybe like once or twice there's been a sound and it's made in, I wake up just a little bit later. But normally once the sound comes in, I wake up.
Okay. I totally do it. I totally have, because I sleep with a lot of noise on.
Yeah.
Like I sleep, everyone out there,
you've trained yourself.
I sleep. And it's so funny. It was something I was trying to stop doing for a while because everyone, like, it seems like over the last few years, everyone's like, turn the lights off. You got to have the lights off. If it's not pitch black, you're not getting good sleep. If your alarm clock is facing you while you're sleeping, you're going to be blind when you're 7. Like, just all this research, like I don't know how much of it is founded or not, and so I was trying to do better at dimming my sleeping experiences and not sleeping with screens on and all this stuff. But then I was like, no one has said anything about sound. Like no one, everyone's like, as long as it's pitch black, you can sleep with Led Zeppelin blaring, if you can sleep with Led Zeppelin blaring. So everyone out there, I sleep with an earbud in my ear. Like that's how I go to sleep most nights.
What's playing in the earbud?
Oh, you're going to love this.
Ah.
So I used to jump around a lot, but once I got the kids and I was in school and all I needed was comfort, I just needed that fucking like, holy shit, just hold me at the end of the day. I have slept to 2 things for over 5 years.
Oh man, I kind of want to guess. Can I guess?
You can try. And this is just me when it's
Is one of them music?
No.
Or no? Neither are music?
No.
I mean, if I was going to do it, I'd do Sade personally, but that's my thing. All right. So it's not music. Are they podcasts?
No. They're television shows.
Oh, okay. Seinfeld?
Yes!
Wow.
Yes!
That's pretty good right off the bat. I was just like,
wow.
I was just thinking of generic, like white noise. My next would have been like Law and Order.
Not too loud, not too like
just comfortable.
That's why my second one is going to surprise you. It's the absolute opposite of Seinfeld.
Is it Law and Order?
No, that'd be pretty mellow. I could sleep to some Law and Order.
All right, so it's nothing like Seinfeld.
Nothing like Seinfeld. It is a TV show though. It's another
TV show.
It's another 20-minute TV program.
Okay.
Opposite of Seinfeld.
Opposite of Seinfeld.
Just in tone, not necessarily genre.
So not Jewy, not I'm Jewish, folks. I can say that. Are they people of color? I'm playing like 20 questions.
No. I'm
trying to think what's opposite of Seinfeld. Like someone who's like really Catholic? Amen. It's a sitcom.
It's sort of. I'm going to end up leading you astray. So I'm just going to Family Guy.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. That's not opposite. It's animated.
It's loud. It's obnoxious. It's sporadic. Like
yeah.
Like Seinfeld is like the white noise to Family Guy's.
Wow.
So anyway, I regularly will be in a dream and trying to figure out where this, because it'll be in my dream in a way like I'll see it. There'll be a TV and I'll see Seinfeld.
Does Kramer pop up in your dreams?
No, it usually ends up just being a sound that I can't get rid of, like a weird dream sound where it's like I see a TV and I'm like, oh, Seinfeld's on, and then my dream will go on and on and on, and I'm far away from the TV and I can still hear it. And even in my dream, I'm like, what the fuck?
And what is with cab drivers? You're like battling dragons and knights, and he's just like, how come my dry cleaner shrunk my clothes?
And I did go through a period. It was a while ago, and it was like for like a year, maybe a little more. I was full on lucid dreaming to the point where like I recognized it happening, and I would because the problem was I would lucid dream as I was slowly waking up. So it started out as I would realize I'm dreaming, and then I would wake up, and then slowly I would realize I'm dreaming and start to calm myself down to try to stay in the dream. And I got pretty good at it.
Wow.
I got to the point where I could stay in that state for a while and fly and breathe underwater and do all the things that we like to dream about.
And then that went away. I don't know what was going on in my life where my synapses allowed that to happen, but I have yet to be able to get it back.
Wow, that's impressive.
So the other thing that I kind of wish this movie did, because they talk about it so much and they breeze over it, like, I think it would have been cool if the final heist, if they had spent more time at that deep level. Because in theory, they could have spent a month at that third level. And like, it just would have been a weird thing for them to just be like, okay, well, fuck, the meeting isn't for 2 days. So, you know, I don't know, where do you guys want to eat tonight? You know, just like.
Well, this raises a great debate, right? If he experienced 50 years of life, became an old man out there, then came back out here, do we consider that time travel? Is time travel based on what the actual fact of time is as a thing, or is it how you experience time? And, you know, time is considered a construct. So this is a really interesting point. What movie was it that we saw where it was a time dilation, right? They got to go to that other universe and they had more time. So they took all that time to build their app.
Yeah, I don't.
So that's a similar thing, right? It's dilation. You get more time, but it doesn't affect this timeline. Did you experience time travel? Is it time travel based upon what we say is this is time and it's running, or is it how you experience it? And that also brings up Interstellar.
Yeah, Interstellar is definitely time travel, because if you can come home to Universe Prime younger than your daughter, that's fucking time travel.
Right.
Now, if they had come...
It was how he experienced it, because he went... Time is judged by gravity, and if gravity is different, that changes time. So where he was, it's not like he wasn't in... We're saying for Cobb, he's not in the real time stream. He's in a dream. For that, on that planet, he was in a very real... the timeline for that gravity and planet, but it is different from the gravity at our planet. And so now you're like, these are both real time.
I don't know, because if
but it's how he experienced it.
We're saying that, then we're dreaming, because every night when you dream, time doesn't quite work right.
Right.
And so that would lead you to say that every night we do some time traveling.
But 50 years, or like, I don't know. It's an interesting debate, is it not?
Yeah.
Of like what, because we generally accept that time is not a real thing. It's a construct. It's how we perceive it. We have made up these rules that it's like minutes and hours and days and months.
Yeah.
It's based on gravity. If you're on a different planet, that is different. And the dream is how you experience it, just like this is how we've experienced it. So it's interesting. It's ripe. It's ripe for the picking.
We've been doing this podcast for 5 years, and it still melts my brain every time I think about how much gravity has to do with our perception of time.
Yeah.
I just can't. If we went to Mars, would time be different? Because there's less gravity there.
I would assume so. I mean, it's our neighbor. I'm not qualified to talk about this. It's still like in the same, the same sun, the same universe, but I assume it'd be different. That's a good question. I mean, light years is a whole different experience, right?
I mean, getting there, whatever it would take us to get to Mars would probably cause, we would age a lot. Like if you went to Mars and came back, you'd come back a month younger.
I think you got to go a little bit further out for the real dramatic stuff.
Well, no, because astronauts time travel by seconds.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
So if you go all the way to Mars, you're going to need a very fast craft to do it. And so I would assume if you went to Mars and came back, like that'd be at least an hour of time travel. It's nothing that you could point to and be like, but if your twin goes to the ISS for a month and comes back, he's younger than you. Yeah. By all intents and purposes.
So it's interesting, but time traveling by your experience, time traveling not as a definitive, but how you experience time.
So now when they're in this world, are they fully experiencing 24 hours a day? Do they have to sleep? Do they have to eat? Do they, because if they're not,
that's a good point.
Then I'm saying even less that it's time travel. Like if you're really living 50 years, 1 second at a time.
When they were in limbo, they believed that to be real.
But again, are they sleeping and eating?
If you believe it to be real, I'll bet you are doing all of those things. However, wasn't the city deserted? Didn't they kind of know they were in limbo, but they just accepted it? That wasn't clear.
And so, so they had to go. So in this world, they were only 4 levels deep.
I got the feeling they were 3 levels deep, right? When they didn't 4 levels, isn't that the most they've ever gone? When they had to go in the film, she's like, we got to go 1 level more. I got the feeling they hadn't done that.
But that's where they found Mal.
Right.
So that would lead me to believe that.
Right. That's what they say is limbo, I think.
Oh.
Or they call a thing limbo. Like if you die or if you forget, you end up. He died and like went even beyond the third. If you died in one of those other dreams, you ended up in limbo because they were put to sleep so deeply they couldn't wake up. Normally you wake up when you die.
So I lost track at some point. 10 seconds on the plane.
I did lose track too, yeah.
Is 3 minutes in the van.
But then it increases exponentially, right?
And then is it an hour in the hotel?
And then is that like a day in the slopes? The increase is not minimal. It's not like 1 minute is 10 minutes. It was a lot. It was like each dream it like doubles or whatever.
It was like 60 days all of it. Yeah, it was like
he said the
10, 3, 60 and the
maybe it is. Is it minutes to hours to days?
I don't think so, because I think the first jump is as simple as 10 seconds is 3 minutes. But then you're right.
Somewhere they have like an hour. One of the dream readings said they had like an hour. And then the other, I think they had more. Like it seems like on the slopes they had several hours. But yeah, and also I guess, so yeah, the idea is the brain works more quickly, experiences more in the dreams. And so, right, time moves faster. And then I thought he said the serum that he gave them actually increased their brain capacity. So it's even longer.
So
yeah. So once they're in this sequence, that's when Cobb tells them, oh yeah, by the way, if you die, you end up in limbo. Did I not mention that before?
Where? Okay. You see, even this article fucking like runs out. Like the article does.
I found a really good article from Screen Rant on it.
Oh, that's where I'm at too.
Oh yeah, the Screen Rant article, it's great.
So 10 seconds is 3 minutes and then an hour, but then...
So wait, 10 seconds in the real world.
Yeah, 10 seconds on the plane.
Is 3 minutes in the hotel?
10 seconds on the plane is 3 minutes in the van.
Oh, 3 minutes in the van, right.
Is 1 hour in the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can't... And then even this article is like, and then it gets weird. Even the Screen Rant article. Because it spells out the first 3 levels so perfectly. And then it's like, just give me a graph.
Let's assume it's like 6 hours to a day, 10 seconds to 3 minutes. So that increases. Yeah.
Okay. Reality is 0. Why is that? Why do you have 2? Level 4 is limbo. Okay. So you're right. I didn't realize that level 4 is just pure limbo.
Yeah. Not the game.
So it's... You don't play games.
Da, 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 da.
I can't understand why there's 2 levels here. Why there's two graphs here. Okay, good. Well, I have every reason to be confused because even every article I find is like, okay, 10 seconds is 3 minutes, and then how long is 50 limbo years?
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. You just limbo over 50 years. What a lifetime that is.
Okay. Anyways, it would have been really cool if in level 3. So yeah, so the snow level, so the plane. Oh, then the van. Because I forget the plane isn't a level.
Right. So the van.
Plane is 0. So van, hotel, snow.
We don't have to explain the plot of this film, right, to the people for Inception. This is if you haven't seen it by now, go see the thing.
Yeah, it's a dream within a dream within a dream, and at every level you go down.
Yeah. Overall, the film is a dream.
So long story short, they're on a plane. They get on a plane. There's someone they're trying to incept. So the whole point, these people, they extract information from people.
In your subconscious. They've developed a technology where they can dream share. They can go into your dreams.
And they can steal information.
Right.
But the whole point of this movie is not only can you steal information, you can incept information. So they're trying to incept an idea into Cillian Murphy to disseminate his father's empire. And so they get on a plane with Cillian Murphy. They knock him out. They go 1 level down. And Cillian has so this is a known thing in this universe. So he has built in his subconscious a way to fight back. So he basically has an army ready to fight off Leo and his people from extracting his ideas. And then they go, so they're on a plane in reality. They're driving around in a van in the
first level of dreaming.
In level 1, in the van, they go to sleep again, and then they're in a hotel. And then in the hotel, they go to sleep, and they're in what I always refer to as a James Bond snow level. Like that is.
It's actually inspired by James Bond. But yeah, from Her Majesty's Secret Service. But yeah, in the level, they actually try to, in the second dream, they were trying to pretend like, hey, someone's dream attacking you. We're the defenses. You can trust us. And then let's go to sleep again. And then they go further.
So now that we've got the levels, I need you to help me out. Who are all the characters they need? So there's the dreamer.
Oh, yeah.
Who is the person whose dreams they're going into and trying to extract. But while they're in his subconscious, they have an architect who's the one who's actually building the dream world.
The extractor is the master con man.
Leo.
Right. He's the extractor. Then they've got the architect. The architect designs the environment. When they go into the 3 dreams, the architect can't go with them to the next level, right? The architect kind of stays.
Is that what Oh!
Yeah, that's why Youssef has to stay in the first level, and then Gordon Levitt has to stay in the second, and then in the third one, it has to be, what's his name? Hardy.
But that's why they hired Elliot Page to be an architect. So why is she going 4 levels deep? Her whole reason for being on this crew is to be an architect.
That's true. Why didn't they use her for this? But then she ends up being able to help them out, right? Or no, she's
just the cipher.
That's true. They never used her for that. They didn't trust her? I don't know. It's a good question.
Is it because they got thrown in so fast? Like they were training her and
Or is it, sorry, so it's the dreamer. Sorry. So the dreamer is the one that can't go.
No.
The architect and the dreamer are not always the same person.
The dreamer is Cillian, right? In every level, he's the dreamer because he's the one they're trying to incept.
Yeah. It is such a heist film. You got the lookout. You got the safe cracking guy.
So is Youssef, is he the architect of the van world?
He must be, right? Oh. Wait, so he was the, what do you call it? The one that comes up with the serums. He had another name.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to find him, and my phone is acting like a little asshole.
My phone is...
They call him the doctor? No. All right, here we go. The architect, the dreamer, anyway, I thought they had a name for him as I don't see it. The rainy city, the hotel, right? Youssef is the chemist.
The chemist, that's right.
So, but he's dreaming the first level. So Youssef is the dreamer of level 1.
Okay.
That's why he has to stay in that level.
Okay.
So he's also the chemist and he's the dreamer. Arthur is normally an extractor, but he's the dreamer for the hotel. Yeah, he dreams the hotel. So I guess, is he the architect in that sense? Or they said sometimes the architect can be different. The Snow Fortress, Hardy is dreaming that one. Limbo is actually unconstructed dream space. Raw and rendered subconscious. Oh, and then there's the Mark, which is Cillian Murphy.
Oh, okay. So also...
The mark is brought into the mind of the dreamer. So since he's unaware he's dreaming, they perceive the dreamer's world as reality, although he had his defenses. And then projections are like, what comes to us from our subconscious, which I guess are his defenses. And also for Cobb, that's Mal, because he feels guilty about her. She's popping up. There's the forger, which is Eames, which is Tom Hardy. And that's he impersonates people. But yeah, the whole thing with Mal is interesting, right? Because Mal was in the limbo and he couldn't get her out, he incepted in her that this wasn't real. And then when they came back to the real world, that stayed with her. And she believed the real world wasn't real. And then she had killed herself and kind of framed Cobb on it, which is why Cobb was kicked out of the US and he's taking this job to get back. It's funny that this guy is rich and powerful and just like, I can get you back in the US. He's like, okay, I'll do it. It's like, you're just going to take him at face value for that? This man from another country can affect the entire US legal system. I mean.
So real quick, that's why I just realized why there's 2 charts, because Youssef as the chemist found a heavier drug that multiplies the time. So the usual Inception is 10, 3, 1 hour. But in this fancy Inception, 5 is an hour. And then they're like, I don't know. And then the third level, Elliot Page says 10 years. So yeah, in that third level, well, and that's why everything in the third level goes to shit. And so they have to do it in an hour. We get a clock. We get a classic movie clock going really quickly. And so since they can only spend an hour in the snow level, then that's like 30 seconds on the plane or something like that. Like, I'm not even going to do the math. I'm way off, everybody. But like, it's no time at all.
So these guys are trained, dream specialists, but like they're fighting military specialists. Are these guys also military trained?
Well,
like all the weapons and explosions and fighting, or is that just because you're in a dream?
But can they just poof, I need a rocket launcher? Because at one point, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is shooting this huge fucking gun, and then Tom Hardy goes dream bigger and pulls out a grenade launcher.
Yeah, like, is it lucid dreaming? In that case, couldn't you just dodge a bullet because you want to?
Yeah.
Like, is it based on it's not based on actual physics. They know it's not real. So it's questionable, your fighting skills.
If Youssef is the architect, why can't he have a building pop up between him and his chasers?
Well, they have to think it's real, the other people? Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know.
Oh, because if they know it's a dream, then the dreamer knows it's a dream, and then Cillian will...
And then everything will stop falling apart.
Everything will fall apart.
And then they'll go into limbo, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, there's logic. There's not many loopholes with this. They did a pretty good job.
It's all limbo.
So the clear, question, there's lots of questions with this film. The ending, right, is the big one.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of issues with it. He goes into limbo, he rescues Sato, and like even he gets unclear, and they're both talking and they remember some key phrases, and then they get out of it. And obviously the end was left vague on purpose. You don't see them wake up in the third level and then the second, the first. They just wake up on the plane. They made it through all the levels and everyone's there smiling. No one says anything. You just see him going through customs. Cobb's going through customs. The guy doesn't say anything. And he just sees his kids at the end. The whole movie has been like dreaming of seeing his kids, but they never turn around. And he's very concerned with, is this real or not real? Like Cobb's brain's gotten fucked up and he always spins his totem to figure out if it's real or not. And anyway, then he sees Michael Caine. His dad is also there, which is random because his dad lives in another country, but is there to welcome him into the States.
Yeah.
Which is like, is this really happening? And then he sees the kids and he leaves his totem and it's spinning and he leaves it and he walks on and everyone's meant to be like, is he still in the dream? Is he not?
Have you read,
I've read a lot on it. Yeah.
Has Nolan just said, I don't know.
Nolan is like, we left it vague on purpose. Like, it is not my job to tell you, what the actual ending is. However, he's like, the importance of the ending is not whether it's real or not. It's that Cobb leaves the totem behind.
Oh.
The importance of it is that he has chosen like this reality. He is there. He's no longer in a place where he is concerned about it or worried or testing it or not sure where he is. He finally got to his kids and he's not. And that's the ending. However, most people suggest that it actually is the reality because the kids, there's a few things that are in the movie. I guess whenever he's in a dream sequence, Cobb has a wedding ring on. And when he's out of it, he does not.
Oh.
And at the end, he does not have the wedding ring.
Okay.
And also his kids, they never turn around at the end. He sees their faces. The clothing is kind of similar position, but the clothing's a little bit different. I read somewhere their shoes were different. And they actually had different actors play those kids in the end scene than the rest of the film. So like in those little bits, you could argue that it did really happen, but it was left vague on purpose. The point is that he at least has chosen this reality and he's no longer worried and he's with his kids in whatever way that is.
Yeah. Did anyone say, or do his kids appear to be like a year older?
They actually, I think they're different actors. They do seem older. And then something with the clothes was a little bit different. Again, the article I read said the shoes were different.
Because I guess that would make sense if he's always visualizing them from a certain point.
He never sees their face, right? He's like in all this stuff. And I don't know if he doesn't see it because you can't, because he never did in real life, or because it's a dream, or because once he does, he's gone. Like then he's going to buy into them.
That's like dream world shit. Like I do that in my dreams all the time. Just that, like, like going to the freezer to get chicken, and then I have a lot of kitchen anxiety dreams, everybody, because I cooked for a long time. So I go to the freezer and get chicken, and then I walk back to the kitchen and I don't have my chicken, and then I go back to the freezer and I pick up the chicken, and then I do that 10 times, and then I go to the freezer and there's no chicken. And the waiters are still pissed off at me because I don't have chicken.
Wow.
And so that's like what the kids' faces are. It's just like, just let me see. I could talk about this fucking movie forever. Like I said, it's a long ass movie, so it's stupid to go through the whole thing. It's insane if you haven't seen it. It's just, just going back to the beginning of this podcast, like Christopher Nolan, he knows how to make. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to read. So this is my new favorite genre of movie reviews.
Yeah.
So this is on the Inception. This is Rotten Tomatoes, under Inception, viewer reviews. Why does Oppenheimer look like his face got scratched off by a cat and he tried to put it together while simultaneously stapling his balls into his mouth?
What?
So my favorite new genre of reviews, everybody, is where people just get on and just rant about any movie directed by the person that directed the movie they're mad at. Like a couple weeks ago, what was I kept sending you reviews about some Marvel movie, and it was just like it was like Ant-Man and Wasp, but everyone just kept complaining about how much Tony Stark sucked or something like that.
Right. That's funny.
So, and that is the #1 review. The whole page is all 4 stars and above. But the top review on Rotten Tomatoes right now. Oh, this person says the ending ruined the movie. There's someone who doesn't like to think for himself. Fucking J.J. Abrams and Christopher Nolan must just go out to dinner together and just do unfinished card tricks in each other's face.
I mean, the film has the whole. I read also Nolan was influenced by things like The Matrix, themes like 13th Floor, even like Memento, stuff where like you don't know if what you're experiencing is real or not, like not trusting your reality. And so this film was designed that way, right? Because it's in that there's theories that like the entire film is Cobb's dream, right? It just seems so. The whole premise is unlikely. The fact that this guy is like just offering him, I'll cover this for you. And he's like, sure. It's all very loose and there's not a lot of detail in these people's real lives.
Yeah. We jump into it. He digs up, like I said, they could have made this movie without Elliot Page, but it would have been way more confusing, so we start this movie. He needs an architect. We pick up Elliot Page. He gives information to her during this crazy fucking heist that, like you said, may or may not actually be happening. I found one more piece of a review I wanted to read. The acting is boring and it's way too abstract to have any semblance of meaning.
Wow. Somebody doesn't want to think too much. Somebody wants like Kevin James films all day. Like, I just want Paul Blart Mall Cop. I can get behind this.
I can wrap my head around that.
I don't want to think too much. That's what I do during the day.
Never mind. So the most important question I can ask about this movie, Scott, is what's your totem, man? What's keeping you? What's your constant? What's keeping you grounded in this?
By the way, I have a question on that. He has a top. What's to say that spinning it in the dream wouldn't affect whether or not that can land? Why, or a dice? I guess he's saying when they know the weight of it, they know they're in the dream or not. But like the top spinning, if it falls, in a dream, couldn't that do whatever it does in the real world?
Well, and especially because...
And it was Malz.
Exactly. That's what
There's questions of that too. People are like, we don't know if this film's real because his totem is Malz, who's out to get him.
And they specifically say, don't do that. That I find weird that it would be something you would carry on you. Like I would think that your totem would need to be like, maybe something you keep in your kitchen or something, like something that wouldn't just be in your pocket while you're dreaming. So anything could be in your pocket. So this is all just bullshit. But like my totem would be like, can I hover? Because that's one of the things I do in my dreams a lot. And in my dreams,
I think your totem has to be an object. That's the whole point.
In my dreams, I'm like, why don't I hover all the time?
But that's a good point,
like,
right? Yeah.
Why have I been walking for 40 years when I can fucking hover? Like
that would make more sense because like you can hover in your dream, but like if you think your dream is real, your brain will not let you hover if it thinks it's real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
totally.
where that gets tricky.
Yeah.
So they're saying a totem, it's like, it intimately, the weight. And in the dream, if you don't feel that as significantly, I don't know. Yeah. What would my totem be? Either maybe like a little tiny wolf or an arrowhead. I used to have an arrow when I was a kid.
Nice.
I don't know what else I would know intimately. What would yours be?
Mine would be a yo-yo. And if I was any good at it, then I'd be dreaming. Oh, no. Even better than that. Because I would get good at a yo-yo. If I could solve a Rubik's Cube, I would be in a dream. Just an unsolved. If I look down and my Rubik's Cube is solved, I got to get out.
I'm trying to think of an object that I intimately already know. It'd be like my keys or my phone, right? Something that like you really have a lot of experience holding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's in my bag right now that I would just be like, oh, here we go. A dog wash token.
A spirit coin.
You would know the weight of that in any fucking... If someone handed...
That's a personal job reference, folks. Don't worry about it.
If you were blind and someone handed you anything, you'd be like, nope.
You know, in the researching it too, I was reading that Nolan wanted to use CGI minimally for this. He wanted like real experiences. They designed for the hotel set. They had a 360-degree rotating set. And they said, poor, what's his name?
Joseph
Gordon-Levitt got beat the shit beaten out of him for like weeks getting used to that, like falling on chandeliers. And the room constantly rotates, which they got from like 2001. But like, how cool is that? Because that scene looks amazing. That's not just ropes and CGI.
It's so cool.
And they said when they blew up the snow house, they had a miniature built for the explosion.
How did they do?
I know. We always get boners for miniatures. And the other stuff is CGI outside Paris, right?
How did they do the floating? Was it just wires, I guess? Or did they like go up in the vomit comet? Like I could see fucking Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. They were rotating it constantly to kind of fuck with gravity.
But then Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like when they're falling in the van.
Yeah. They said the underwater stuff in the van in the water, they said it took a day to shoot. They were all underwater. They had to take oxygen masks like every few minutes to keep shooting. They were like really underwater forever. This film sounds really unpleasant to be honest.
Wow. I can't believe they did that in a day. Like that just seemed...
There's not that many shots at slow-mo, right? The underwater.
Yeah.
There's not that much, but you have to keep doing who knows when people run out of breath. That's fucking crazy. That is crazy. What a bold project this is.
Fuck.
You know, making a movie is hard if you just want to do like a rom-com, walking around New York and talking.
Yeah.
To try to accomplish what this film accomplished, that is a bold move. But big props to you.
Well, and I forget too, like the underwater scene for the techs involved, that was probably a month. But then the actors, they're like, okay, let's go. And so Leo was there for a day. But the people who were setting up that shot, that was a month of they missed their kid's birthday because of that shot. But yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, the fucking the practical effects and the fact that they actually blew something up too, like that's so rad.
I forgot what they said in the Paris scene, it was a real corner. They didn't want them to have real explosions. But they did like some minor like hydrogen little things, but obviously the rest had to be CGI behind it. But even the CGI they did do is like visually, like if I was a CGI person, that would be like such a beloved project to make the world's crunching in on itself and the bridges and so cool.
This had more practical effects than last night, everyone. Hey, check out our actually they'll be hitting Patreon at the same time. So Inception's on Patreon. And right now, most likely, Never Ending Story is on Patreon as well. So check that out. And there was more green screen in 1983's Never Ending Story than there was in this masterpiece. And my favorite part about Never Ending Story is, you know, they never really say where it is. Like the movie is so fucking German that you assume they're, you know, somewhere in Europe, but you can see the Toronto Tower in the background of several shots.
Wow.
So great. Oh, this is the best job ever. I get to talk about Inception and Never Ending Story. Jesus
Life's
Christ.
good and confusing.
So great. Next week, I get to talk about a movie that could be on this Patreon feed, but we're going to do it for my upcoming new podcast called Movies Are Us, everybody, where we're talking about, as the title would suggest, we're talking about movies based on things that you might find in a Toys R Us. So we're doing movies based on toys like Transformers and Lego and board games. We're going to do Battleship and Ouija and Jumanji and video games. We're going to do Mario Brothers. So next week we're doing Barbie, which could very easily be on this alternate universe Patreon time pop Barbie. So check that out. Coming in February sometimes. I'm going to get a few recorded before I start releasing them.
Can we do a podcast of movies that make people feel awkward and don't fit anywhere? And I would say Labyrinth, The Never-Ending Story, and The Dark Crystal.
Absolutely.
Like they're not for kids, they're not for adults, and everyone feels really awkward when they watch them.
Absolutely. Yeah. The shit that we watched as 8-year-olds, like, even if you were comfortable showing it to your son, he'd be freaked out.
Yeah.
Like, he'd just be like, no way. And I also, Justin and my wife yelled at me for picking too many movies where horses die. So I will say that about Inception. 0 horses died in Inception. So that was pretty awesome.
There you go.
Holy shit, Scott. What time is it?
Oh, it's 11 o'clock, my friend.
11 o'clock straight up.
It's 11 o'clock. This one is in my top film list. It's made it to the upper echelon. I have a hard time giving a 12.
Yeah.
I don't know who I reserve that for. It's as close as I can get. I don't know what I'd give Interstellar if that gets an 11 or 11:30, but it's up there.
That's cool. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm surprised this one isn't higher, but you got to leave a nice cushion for Inception for whenever we finally officially rate that.
But it's up there for me. This is top tier film.
This is so fucking good. Like, it's so funny. Like, part of me is like, I was so hard on Adew.
I love this film regret.
I can totally see someone just being like, really, you bitched about Adew for an hour and all you did was jerk off all over Inception, and they're the same movie in some respect. It's just long, slow motion. But this is just so good. This is, again, it's an American bias. I'm an American boy who likes American movies, and this is as fucking down home film as it can get. I'm gonna go 10:30. I'm gonna not quite go as high as you, just because I got to knock off a half hour just for the length of this movie. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are, once you get over 2 hours, like, it just okay.
I have a question for you. Do you think endgames should be shorter?
I haven't seen, and I'm gonna just say
because they can't. They have so much going on. They have every hero from all the universes. They have to cover so much, but it's a long film.
But think about this. Does what's the movie before Endgame?
Oh man, I still have long COVID that my brain is not bringing this up right now.
That one definitely could have been shorter.
No, they're covering so much ground. There's universes coming together, but it's long. I was curious because there's a lot of content that needs to get covered in those films.
Yeah.
But I know you're an hour and a half specialist.
I don't know. All I know is that I cannot rewatch the Marvel movies as much as Kelly can, because
wow.
It's just such a fucking investment every fucking time you press play.
You can watch a 2-hour film in 2 sittings. You know what I mean?
You can. Yeah.
Make it like it's a TV series you're binge watching.
I told Kelly that I actually kind of want to watch the whole Marvel universe over again.
It's fun.
1 hour at a time.
Yeah.
Like every night with Cormac, just as a family.
I did that with Zoe as a project.
We watched 1 hour.
But I did that just when they did the first TV series was the Scarlet Witch one, like the Vision and Witch. And like, if you include all the TV series now, it'll take forever. But if you just do the movies, it's a much easier project.
Yeah. And I still haven't watched.
It's fun.
It's
really fun.
All of Flash yet, which we still need. God, we need to talk about
the movie or the series.
The series.
Yeah, I'm actually on the last season. I fell out. I got to get back in.
We're somewhere in 4. We're watching it as a family, so we kind of fell off.
Have you been registering the time travel episodes? There's a lot.
I keep meaning to. Like, it's so funny. Like, yeah, exactly. I start to write a few down, and then I'm like, we could really, like, are we really gonna only? Yeah, I don't know. I keep hoping that Time Pop is going to blow up. Hey, everyone out there, tell your neighbors, tell your friends, check out our Patreon, or you're on our Patreon. Tell people about Time Pop, because I want to get a huge audience so we have an excuse to just do The Flash. Like, I want to do a Patreon level where we just do that. Like, because every time I'm like, let's talk about it, it's like, okay, well, then I guess we have to do these 10 episodes, because each one is a totally different version of time travel. So it's like, that's the thing about The Flash, is it's not just like, here's how they time travel in Flash. It's like, here's the 10 different ways they time travel in Flash. So anyways, we got way off topic. I'm selling you too many things, and I shouldn't be, because you already bought it. Thank you, Patreon subscribers. Tell other people where they can find more Time Pop. Stay tuned for our Movies Are Us podcast, which I'm trying to get Scott on it.
Yes.
Scott's a busy man. He's decided he doesn't do nights anymore, which is the only time I can get my other host involved.
Well, I said maybe Thursday nights. Yeah, I got the kids Monday, Tuesday, unless we do it after they go to sleep.
And then Wednesday's date night.
And Wednesday is the night with date night.
Yeah. Well, we're doing Barbie next Thursday, so if you wanna get involved, do that. But everyone out there,
once Transformers get in there, you better watch out.
We're gonna
give me the mic and back up.
Scott Lifton, more than meets the eye.
Very famously a member of the Pussy Posse.
Yeah, or what channel is this?
Leo DiCaprio, Tobey Maguire, David Blaine, all these guys. Who got the most pussy in the Pussy Posse?
Well, listen. First of all, if I could set that straight,
yes.
That was there was a New York Magazine article written years ago, and the writer of the magazine coined that phrase.
Got it. You guys didn't coin yourself that.
With my hand on the Bible, I swear to you, never, ever, ever, in any capacity, have myself or any of our friends ever referred to ourselves as the Pussy Posse.
Yes.
This guy wrote it, and it stuck.
Got it.
But the answer is Leo, right?
But yeah, I mean, the article was written about him. We got thrown into it, but it's just weird because we never called ourselves that. But
Okay.
I mean, that answer is probably pretty obvious.
But it was Leo, yeah.
Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com